Today we're talking all about artificial intelligence, and we're actually going to be using something called Google Cloud Vision. There's a story behind this that I will get into, but essentially this is a way for you to check your thumbnails and it will tell you what Google and what YouTube sees when it looks at your thumbnails, and in some cases what they think they see. It starts right now, and I guarantee you this one is going to shock you. What's up guys, Regan Rogerson here, Fitness Marketing Hub, and today we are talking high-tech artificial intelligence. There's a story behind this, as I mentioned in the intro. Recently, I posted a video to this channel, and the video itself was basically flagged and it was demonetized, and I didn't know why. If you've seen the thumbnails on this channel, they're all very basic. And it was a picture of me, it wasn't a picture of a fitness model or anything like that. So I started doing some research on this, and what I came to find out was that the Google algorithm, or whatever you want to call it, thought that I was giving the camera the finger in my thumbnail. So it basically thought that the content must be inappropriate, and therefore they demonetized the video. But in doing so, I discovered something called Google Cloud API, which I'd never actually used before. What this is, again, something we talk about on this channel. It's always about how to create thumbnails that stand out in search results, so that when somebody is scrolling through YouTube or Google or whatever, that your thumbnail jumps out. So essentially, we always talk about how to optimize your thumbnails for humans. We never talk about how to optimize your thumbnail for this mechanical robotic algorithm that is judging you before humans ever see your thumbnails. So this kind of worked out well because I discovered this software, and what I'm doing today is we're going to actually review some of my fitness thumbnails as well as some of your fitness thumbnails to see exactly what the algorithm is saying, and based on what it is saying, which I guarantee you is going to shock you, what that might be doing to your channel and how it may be suppressing your channel. So without further ado, let's get going, and I'm going to do a screen share here and we're going to show you exactly what's going on. All right guys, hopefully you can see that. Welcome to Google Cloud Vision API, whatever you want to call it. Right off the bat, anybody whose thumbnail I use here today are doing nothing wrong. So this is not picking on anybody's thumbnails, including my own. This is just showing you how the Google basically is seeing your thumbnails when you upload them. So I'm not a real big tech guy, so I don't know what the exact purpose of this software is, what it's used for. I do know there's a paid version and a free version of it. I came across it when I was doing my own research for my own thumbnail to find out what the problem was, and it was very interesting to me because it gives me a lot of insights as to how Google and YouTube, which are the same company, how they look at my thumbnails and what their algorithm sees, which is completely different in some cases as to what the human eye might see. So I'm going to just throw one in there. I've also pulled some of the Fitness Marketing Hub members' thumbnails just to show you some different ideas of what it's seeing. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through a bunch. I'm going to show you what things mean. I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to explain it all at the very end. So let's have a look. First one I'm going to look at is a thumbnail of Jacqueline, who does kettlebell workouts on my channel. All right, so here is Jacqueline's 10-minute full body dumbbell workout. There's a lot of different things on here which we can kind of go through at some point. It's looking at her face and basically trying to judge what kind of mood she's in. It's picking out objects that are in the video. It's picking out different articles of clothing, like it's recognizing things, which is a bit concerning, but it's interesting. The thing that I care about when it comes to thumbnails is safe search. Now look right there. Adult, spoof, medical, violence, racy. So it's basically trying to judge whether this thumbnail falls into any of these potentially harmful categories. And I'm peaking on racy, which we'll get to, but it's not a good thing. So let's look at another one. Here is Kay's Pilates. She's got a channel on YouTube. I'll try and throw it in the description below. Great Pilates channel, fantastic workouts. We're going to go over here and look. Spoof and racy. So again, not as high as the last one, but it's showing racy. Violence, unlikely. Spoof, likely. I'll explain what spoof is later as well. Let's look at another one. This is a random one that I made up. I see a lot of males who do the topless sort of thumbnails and stuff like that. And see what it says. Racy possible, spoof likely, medical possible. Okay. Here is one by Sylvia, who does kettlebell workouts on my channel. Safe search, racy, very likely. Adult possible. Yeah, so let's look at one more. Kirsten Quickfit, who is a member of Fitness Marketing Hub, and I've done this thumbnail. I designed this thumbnail for her, and we look at this one, racy, very likely, adult possible. It's just a boot camp photo. As you saw there's 5 categories. There's adult, spoof, medical, violence, and racy. Adult is basically defined as adult content likelihood for the image. Adult content may contain elements such as nudity, pornographic images, or cartoons, or sexual activities. So quite frankly, to be even possible that your stuff is adult content is not a good thing. And that's a pretty simplistic thumbnail. Spoof. The likelihood that a modification was made to the image's canonical version, which don't ask me what that means, to make it appear funny or offensive. Medical, likelihood that it is a medical image. Violence, likelihood that this image contains violent content. I don't see much of that. Racy, likelihood that the request image contains racy content. May include, but is not limited to, skimpy or sheer clothing, strategically covered nudity, lewd or provocative poses, or close-ups of sensitive body areas. I mean, I can go through plenty of these. You know, going back to this one of Jacqueline's. I looked at some of these earlier as well some of them I haven't looked at yet, some of them I looked at earlier. But little things that stood out to me, you know, right there when you can see that it is looking at Jacqueline's dumbbells and it thinks that it's luggage. And to do a comparison, and this one recognizes very high up that this is dumbbells. So basically, guys, I could share a lot of different thumbnails. I've got more there I could show, but I think you're getting the point with what I'm saying here, that this is something that provides opportunity for you to really optimize your thumbnails, but it also shows a glaring problem that you need to be very aware of, and that you can be miscategorized and misunderstood with your thumbnails very, very easily, as we've seen. So I'm gonna give you some takeaways, things to consider. First and foremost, you have to be aware of Google Safe Search. This is the same software that monitors Google Safe Search. It's all one and the same. So if you are peaking in any categories on CloudVision API, then you're not going to be showing up in Google Safe Search results. Google Safe Search is used by millions upon millions of people every day to filter out lewd or inappropriate content, whether it's for themselves, for children who are on the computer, whatever that may be. They have the reasons they use it, and there's a lot of people. So again, if you're peaking in any of these categories, you will not show up in those search results. If you are likely in any of those categories or leaning one way, kind of right on the fence about it, you may still show up in those search results, but you're going to be suppressed very far down, so you're not going to be seen. And in the process, again, costing you tens, hundreds, maybe thousands of views. And I know for a fact the power of Google, because I have got videos on page 1 of Google that get me thousands of views every month. So it's very powerful. It is a place you don't want to be missing from. The second thing that we have to be very cautious of, and again, this is a good thing and a bad thing, but now that we know that the machine learning of Google is actually recognizing not just the title of your video, but it's recognizing words in your thumbnail. It's recognizing your facial expression, your mood. It's going to be recognizing everything. There was one of these I looked at earlier. It was the thumbnail I had, and it actually was reading words on the chalkboard behind me, and which blew me away because it was like 30 feet away from the shot. It was way far back there, but it read that, and I thought, what if there was something on that blackboard that it deemed inappropriate? That alone could hurt my search ranking. So all these little things to take into consideration can be negative, but can also be positive. If you put your title in your thumbnail, make sure it's good, thick, clean letters that are big and that are and make sure the color palettes you use are accentuating that text. So your keywords, if it's dumbbell, yoga, Pilates, whatever it may be that you're doing, that keyword should be nice and big if you are somebody who puts that in your thumbnails, because it's reading it, it's registering with the Google algorithm, and it's going to farther heighten you in search results in addition to your actual video title, your key phrasing, all of that kind of stuff. The fact that it also recognizes objects in the photo and in the thumbnail can be good and can be bad. You saw the one thumbnail with Jacqueline that it thought her dumbbells were luggage. That's probably not a good thing if I want this to come up in dumbbell search results. Dumbbell was nowhere in the objects that it saw in that picture, but luggage was. In comparison, the one video of me with the dumbbells over my head, it recognized at the top of the list that it was dumbbells, which is only going to help matters. So make sure if there's anything important in the shot, a yoga mat, a yoga block, a kettlebell, a dumbbell, that it's not half off screen, it's not tipped over, it's very front, center, and visible in the shot, because it's only going to help you and potentially harm you if it's being deemed something else by the algorithm and then sending you into search results for luggage instead of a dumbbell workout. I can't say for sure that stuff's happening, guys, but obviously this is something that is very in tune with what we're uploading, and it's making up its own mind, and it's going to do what it's going to do. So let's optimize that. I think there's a lot of back and forth, guys, that we can say here too. And I'm sure you guys can say, well, so-and-so has a channel. A lot of their thumbnails are provocative and they have millions of views. I think when it comes to those channels, and again, this is just me theorizing, those channels are already in motion. And this stuff, this Google artificial intelligence does not make or break a channel. It can just be a pain in the butt, is the easiest way to put it. So if your channel is doing well, for example, both of my channels, and you guys can check this too, both of my channels, my highest supplier of traffic on Fitness Marketing Hub and on Trainer Hub is YouTube search. It's over 50% in both cases, #1 provider of traffic to my channels. My #1 external provider of traffic is Google search, both my channels. And it's over 50% in both cases, I believe, or just under 50% maybe. I'm probably putting it on screen as we speak. So I don't have a problem. And I don't think that's because my thumbnails are perfect, because we've seen through this that it's not. I do think that my channels both have enough momentum and are niche down enough and they're to the point enough that it's working for me. So even if I'm getting some issues with my thumbnails being looked at as racy in some cases, I'm still going to try and not let that happen. But my community is thriving enough that it's not hurting my channel. But you guys can look at your own YouTube Studio and look at your internal and external search and how high that is. If YouTube search is not your highest provider of traffic, you have a problem. It's not necessarily because of this, but it is a problem, and this could be one of those things that's not helping it. Same thing with external search. It should be Google search. If it's not, if it's Facebook, then you know it's just people dropping over through your Facebook profile and stuff like that. You want it to be Google search. So this is especially a problem when you're a small channel, because everything needs to be under control that you can control. And this is one of those things. So basically, be very mindful of that. Be mindful of what you're wearing, how you're posing. It's never going to be perfect. I think fitness can always be construed as mildly racy at times, things like that, just because sometimes the clothing can be tighter. The poses may look provocative to a mechanical eye, but we can at least do our best to optimize things, optimize text, make sure the equipment is very visible in the picture, make sure we look like we're in a half good mood, all that kind of stuff. So that's basically it, guys. If you have questions about this, don't hesitate to comment below. I'd love to know your opinion on it. I highly suggest that you do check out the link in the description, run some of your thumbnails through there, let me know what it's saying, because I'd be curious. Because it really seems to be sensitive towards fitness thumbnails. And again, we don't want to be coming across as racy, as adult, as spoof. By the way, I don't think I got into too much detail with the spoof thing. I did do some more research on that because I didn't quite understand it. And I think in a lot of cases, it's when a photo looks almost too perfect. And so, which... How do you get around that? You want your photo to be as perfect as possible, but one thing I did do is I took a photo just from a stock library, and I tested it. Sure enough, it was really high in the spoof category. Then I brought it into Photoshop and I kind of dulled the photo down a little bit and made it just not so perfect in color, and that level went down. So I think if you look too perfect, or if you have a filter over your photos, things like that, I think that can kind of make you look like it might be a fake photo, which can be construed with possibly spam, that sort of thing. So that's my take on it, guys. Do with it what you will. Be very cautious of that. Ask questions. If you have questions for me, fire away anytime. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.